Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on the channel. Today I'm going to be going through all today's wheelings and dealings. There's been so many trades, so many trade requests, so much news. I don't know how I'm going to fit this into a short formed video, but here we are. We're going to give it a go and get right through it. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the bell for notifications. Share this video around. I want to aim for 10 likes for each and every trade wrap video. Obviously it ends on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Victorian time. So let's get right into it. So the first trade, we're going to always do these in order because there's always a domino effect from some trades that start that end up happening throughout the next few, with some clubs, especially the clubs that have multiple trades they're involved in. So the first trade today, Ella Slocombe from the Roos. It's officially a West Coast AFLW play. Played the one game in her second season this year. A bit like George Stubbs, 2 years on the list. Both were handy players, but not going to break it in the Roos side, unfortunately, unless there's a lot of injuries, and they never had any. So Ella goes to the Eagles along with a pick in the future, a fourth rounder, and Roos get 48. No one loses this. Ella gets some opportunity at the Eagles to join Ella Roberts, Charlie Thomas, Jade Britton, Kelly Gibson, Loz Wakeford, Lou Painter, etc. at the Eagles. She gets some opportunity. She gets to go back home. And hopefully for Ella Slocombe, she gets a better opportunity at the Eagles, which I'm sure she'll get. Poppy Bolts is officially a GWS player, which I exclusively revealed about a month or two ago that she would go to a Sydney-based club. And a few people tried telling me how I was wrong. And oh, no, you are wrong and I am right. As I am 100% strike rate for AFLW. I have a strike rate of 100% when it comes to AFLW trade exclusives or news this season. So best you listen to me and you'll be correct. So Poppy Bolts is a GWS player. GWS get Poppy Bolts and a future second, and Brisbane get pick 19. That's the handout selection that GWS got from the AFL, which they didn't deserve. Now, Poppy is a former first-round draft pick about 6 years ago, okay? Just because you were a former first-round pick doesn't constitute you to be a first-round pick value. Now, I ripped into GWS for their poor recruiting and list management over the last 2 years in particular, excluding Caitlin Surhoy, and this is after Zali Goldsworth's draft. She's a star, Zali, so Surhoy. But every other trade and draft move they've made since then has been nothing short of bad or very average. And this trade for Poppy, who was in and out of Brisbane side the last 2 years, this is nothing short of a bizarre pick swap. Why are you giving up pick 19? That should have been transferred over to Hawthorn for Tilly Lucas-Rod, which Hawthorn would accept that. Now you got the problem of, other selections, your future picks. You're not trying to pick 3 or 4, right? So whatever it is they got currently. So therefore, you use your future first, which you probably won't want to give up anyway. No, that might be out as well. So you got to get real smart and creative here. You've now stuffed up your Tilly Lucas-Rod trade. You obviously will find a way. It's probably going to be something that you didn't want to give up, that you're going to give up or be part of a trade when this pick 19 should have been for Poppy Bolts. Should not have been for Poppy Bolts, should have been for Tilly Lucas-Rod. Now, sure, you got a future second. You'll give that to Hawthorn for Tilly Lucas-Rod, and Hawthorn will probably say no. And you're going to have to get more creative. This is a bizarre move. Poppy was in and out of the Brisbane side for the last 3 years. Consistently. She did have some injuries at the start of this year. Was good in the premiership year in 23 at times. But in and out the last 2 years with injury or form-related reasons. And you get up a pick in the first round, no matter if it's start, mid, or end of a first round, no matter if it was a handout selection for Poppy Bolts. That's on the Giants. Good luck to Poppy. Hope she does well. She's a good person. But this is the ruthlessness of trade period. And GWS have just screwed themselves over. I'm sure Brisbane, when they got offered that deal, they took it and run. They closed the phone call. They shut the call, or they left the meeting, closed the door, and bursted out laughing. I think GWS are drunk. Do they just hand out picks like they mean nothing now? The Giants, you haven't nailed the trade or draft period the last 2 years, definitely. You've now lost the trade period, and we're not even over. unless you somehow bring in Mon Conti, Ella Roberts for free, which obviously that's not happening, then you failed the trade period already. You failed the last few trade and draft periods, and now you've continued again. This year they performed badly because they recruited badly. And it's going to happen again next year. Let's see if you nail your pick 3 and 4 this year, because you failed most of your other draft and trade selections in the last 2 years, so it wouldn't shock me for you to butcher that as well. But Poppy Bolts is a Giants player one under Poppy. They did say, interestingly enough, that she's going to team up with Cambridge McCormick, who's been linked to Carlton, who they aren't budging on leaving. Geez, they lose Cambridge McCormick, they're in more of a world of hurt, but they will be regardless, but hold her to her contract. She signed it not that long ago. So the next one that went through, this was some news that Essendon AFLW defender Elise Gamble, has not been offered a contract. It's a bit of a surprise to a degree, but not really. They're bringing in Zoe Prowse. They've got Taya Chambers there, Maddie Gay as well. But I thought Gamble might have stayed, considering she played a fair bit this year. Contracted key defender who's been injured a lot last 2 years, Brooke Brown, fringe defender, veteran defender, has wanted to explore a trade with Essendon, happy to do so. No shock. They probably don't want her there, no offence. That's why they're letting her explore it. No club's been linked to Brooke yet, but time will tell. Hawthorn AFLW, young, tall in her second year, key forward, Sophie Butterworth has requested a trade to the Saints. When I said St Kilda, I want you to recruit key forwards to support Warlaw and a good ruck in general, I didn't mean pick up fringe players from other clubs. Mia Austin is a bloody good young key forward, or tall forward, third tall. She's a young star. Why are you picking up players that haven't proven themselves yet at the level? We need ready-made options, not developing players, because besides Warlaw, we haven't got a good key forward. And bringing in Sophie's not going to change that. It's going to be the same position you were now with Bazanko and anyone else that played that role. Hannah Priest, whoever. Didn't work. Hasn't worked. This ain't going to work either. Mia Austin is right there. Bryn Harrington from Carlton is right there. They just brought in another ruck or just good. Solve your problems with bringing in the Carlton trio or two of them, Austin and one of the rucks, Good or Harrington, whoever it is. Prefer Harrington, but just Good will be good as well. That would be a solid trade period to address your needs and get some bloody solid and good acquisitions. But no. You sit on your ass doing nothing and picking up fringe players. I just ripped into GWS for doing it. And that's what's separating us from making finals, like deep into finals. Warlaw can't do it on her own. You can't fluke your way without a ruck. And you haven't addressed either needs. Will St Kilda give her a better opportunity? Yeah, maybe. But that doesn't help us. That helps her individually. So St Kilda need to look elsewhere. But that's the news there. Harsh truth, but, you know, you got to be worth being picked up. You got to be worth being picked up. Grace Egan is officially an Adelaide Crows player. Richmond get pick 38. Who wins this trade? I don't know. If Grace goes really well, then Adelaide win. If she goes bad, then Richmond win slightly. Because unless pick 38 is a gun, then this is probably around the middle. Pays off, it pays off, it pays off, it doesn't. Because 38's not a big cost for Grace Egan. Adelaide probably win more so because they're an established player. Obviously had some good form in the back half of the year. Was in and out, had a few injuries through her lip injury she had on her face and everything else. But, you know, Adelaide, they're going to be a really, really hard team to grade come the end of the trade period. Hatchard, Prowse gone, some top draft picks gone, some massive draft picks for this year and future first of Gold Coast next year coming in currently. And Grace Egan, so maybe some more as well. So, you know, I like some of the things Adelaide have done, but yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with Grace at the Crows, but one on Grace. Collingwood, now this is an interesting one. Collingwood AFLW have officially signed their former VFLW player, who was an injury replacement player at Carlton, as a delisted free agent, Charlotte Brewer. Now, Charlotte really dominated for their VFW. She was on the list of VFW player names that I said the Saints, or anyone, should look at. Charlotte Brewer, Stacia Stevenson, Matilda Van Berkel, Paige Price, Isla Baldwin, Sophie Locke, Nike DeJock, etc. She was on the list of those names. So I'm glad Collingwood have picked her up. Now, as I exclusively revealed recently on Friday night, Lily Rose Williamson, who was an injury replacement player, is expected to join Brisbane. Now, Charlotte, I thought at the time, was going to get the Collingwood job as the new player. Lily got it, and she done all right. But I'm pretty sure they had another list spot open, and that could have been Charlotte's, and they didn't. They got her now. They got her the hard way, the long way. Lucky for them that Carlton let her go for them to be able to sign her as a delisted free agent. But well on Charlotte. Hopefully it goes really well for her at the Pies. I think if she plays like she did in the V4W, she didn't get the opportunity at Carlton, so we can't really judge that. Going off her V4W form, she's done really well. Now, Gold Coast have traded out pick 14 and a future second to Melbourne, and they've got pick 17 and 27. Futures pick out for 17. 14 from 17 is an upgrade for 3 picks for Melbourne. Melbourne get a future pick instead of 27, sure. Gold Coast want more picks this year to match the bids for their 8 or so academy girls, and they're going to continue to do so, and they will and have already done so. That's why they're splitting picks. Whether it's 14 or 17 doesn't matter for Gold Coast. Future second to a current pick, which means they can match it for another player. That's why they're doing it. Melbourne win in terms of the upgrades. If you look at the trade in its totality, we're going to look long-term and what Gold Coast are doing, and what Melbourne are getting is a slight upgrade in both selections. Granted, one's in the future. The 3 picks forward this year is good. So, they don't really lose. No one loses. They both gain a lot out of it. So, great for both parties. Now, Collingwood are expected to hang. That's not even a word. The Pies are expected to hang on to contracted forward Eliza James, who had interest from Geelong. That seems to have fallen out of happening. A deal for contracted Pies winger, Michaela Cann of the Bulldogs, is still apparently ongoing. Well, I didn't realise Michaela Cann was contracted. I would not be letting her go under any circumstances. And unless the Bulldogs are giving up a late first, early second, then I'm not entertaining this at all. But interesting to see how that one goes. That may go down to the wire. Ellie Hampson, the Lion. We haven't been talking about her the entire trade period. This morning requested a trade to Port Adelaide, and now it's official. Now, this pick is interesting. Well, not pick. The moves they've done. So Port Adelaide receive Ellie Hampson, 36, and a future 4th. Brisbane get pick 28, 46, and a future 3rd. So basically what's happened is they valued Ellie Hampson between 28 and 46. Somewhere down the middle, mid-30s. They got 36 in Hampson. They gave 28 and went to 36, went back 8 spots. They got a future 4th, and Brisbane got a future 3rd. So they went down a round of picks, 46 to 36 ranges around the range they rate Ellie Hampson. So I think Port Adelaide done all right out of this. And Brisbane, they've lost a few players this trade period. But, for them, no one really loses. If you value Ellie Hampson better than a pick in the mid-30s, then the team bringing her in, which is Port in this case, have done pretty well. She had some good games in the final series this year. So, I think this can be a handy acquisition for Port Adelaide, who were meant to be quiet. Now, I've heard that this deal has been in the works for a while. But yeah, it did come to a surprise because I only found out now. But there we go. Now, the last official move as of this recording today is that Collingwood have signed Collingwood AFLW have signed 179 centimetre, 19-year-old Gaelic footballer Ali Brady as a rookie on a 2-year deal. Now, Collingwood, it baffles me why they're signing all these Irish players and netballers. They got these extra 2 list spots, and that's what they've used it on. Use it on players. They brought Charlotte Brewer as a delisted free agent. You need to strengthen your side, not bring in unknown players. You need ready-made players that you know what you're going to get. So it confuses me what Collingwood are doing here. But well under Ali Brady on a 2-year deal as a rookie. So hopefully it goes well for her. Thank you for watching this week's video of the AFLW Scoops Trade Period Wrap Day 5. Till the next 2 days, the final 2 days. Take care and thank you. And go Saints. Saints, get Mia Austin, Brent Harrington, and or Jess Good. Thank you.